People have two different options, Rajan, domestic MBA versus international MBA,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of people, so there are two paths. One is you're a fresh grad, undergrad, and you go to IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore right after college.
Right.
The other one is what you chose. You worked and then picked an international school, international MBA. How do you think, from the perspective of venture capitalist industry, how are these two looked at differently, or how do you think is the exposure different?
So that's interesting. I think, I'll take a broader view of this, and I'll say that if you see the majority of your career being in India and you can get into a top tier business school, then that should be your first preference. If, on the other hand, you see yourself as someone who's going to work overseas mostly, uh, then a global MBA from a top business school like Darden, Harvard, would be very helpful.
Okay.
The top Indian business schools today are almost on par across most dimensions with schools, the top schools in the US and Europe and in Asia as well. But the single biggest advantage of a global MBA is the global exposure and access to resources that are available at top global business schools. And that's why, sort of, if you want to work internationally, the number one advantage of going to a global business school is placements. If you're going to place out of an Indian business school, it will largely be Indian companies or MNCs with a presence in India who will be recruiting. In the US or other markets, you'll have lots more global opportunities. The second is the visa status. If you're placing out of a US or European business school, you get to work for some years, then there's a path to creating a more international role for yourself. The third is brand recognition. And I'd say that brand recognition within India of the top tier business schools is fantastic, and it compares with the best in the world. But brand recognition, if you want to work for a global firm, it helps to have a global MBA, just because that's recognized globally. So I'd say, these are the main reasons: placements, visa status, and brand recognition would be the primary reasons to consider sort of outside of India. But the overriding thing is, where do you want to spend most of your career? And if it's going to be in India, then my strong advice would be that if you can get in a top tier Indian school, it's well worth it. If you have the ability and the means to go and do a global MBA, it's an amazing experience. But I've got to be honest, from a career perspective, the real reason to go there is if you want to create a global career for yourself.